In today's course, I'm going to show you how to build, launch, and scale your TikTok ads. This is going to be a complete A to Z course that is going to teach you exactly how to get more sales, followers, or leads for your business on TikTok. In this course, we are going to be covering how to set up your TikTok account, how to set up your TikTok pixel for correct tracking, choosing the right campaign objective and settings for your specific business, how to find your right audience inside of TikTok and target them correctly, how to decide on your budgets, biddings, and other optimizations, how to create ads that actually convert, which is a very important part of TikTok and you don't want to miss that. Also be going over some of the specific tools that I use to make TikTok ads easier. And finally, we will wrap things up with how to test your campaigns, manage your campaigns, and of course, scale your campaigns so that you can get the maximum results. And I know that is a lot to cover, but I wanted to have a video that was one resource that people could have to watch everything all the way through instead of having to go find different videos or pieces. So there are timestamps down below if you wanted to skip around a little bit in case you know one section or something like that. But I do encourage you to watch the video all the way through because there are things that we are going to be covering that build upon each other. So do keep that in mind. Hopefully you find this course valuable to be able to learn, scale, and grow your TikTok ads. So let's jump right in. So first things first, if you do not already have a TikTok ads account, I encourage you to check out the link down below. If you click that, it will take you to a page that looks something like this, where you can go through and start creating your TikTok ads account. You can see, you can go through and put in your email, password, confirm, and then sign up, or you can sign up with TikTok. I'm not going to go through this whole process because I do have other videos that cover that, and it's pretty straightforward. I'm trusting you to be able to go through and follow the steps that TikTok has outlined. They've done a great job on kind of guiding everybody through that. So go to this link and go through and fill this out, create your account. Once that's done, come back to this video and follow along. Now, once you've created your account, it's going to take you to a page that looks something similar to this. This is a demo account that I do have. So we're going to be using this to kind of go through and explain different things. So right from the beginning, the dashboard you can see that it takes you to, this is going to give you an idea of your total spend here, how much you spent throughout all of your campaigns, your ad group statuses, how many are active, disapproved, out of budget, underperforming. And then you're going to see a trend where you can go through and see the costs, the impressions, clicks, and conversions. You can see you can go through and drop these down if you'd like. If you wanted to see, instead of the average CPC, you could see the CPA here for your specific metrics. So whatever metrics you wanted to see, just from a high level overview, you could go through and change these. From here, you can go through and also see your campaigns, the gender demographics, the placements, operating systems, and then day parting as well to see what time of day people are actually going through and clicking or where you're spending, or you can go through and change the metrics here as well. Now, a couple of other things to do to set up your account. If you didn't already, be sure you click here and go through and add a payment type for or payment method inside of your account. And also make sure you go through the account info and fill out anything else that TikTok is asking for inside of there. But now let's move on to how to set up the TikTok pixel. For those who aren't familiar, the TikTok pixel is a very important piece of running TikTok ads. Essentially, without installing the TikTok pixel, you are running your ads account blind. It's like driving a car blindfolded or an airplane blindfolded. What it does is the TikTok pixel collects data from when people go to your website or your app or whatever it may be, and sends that back into the ads manager so that you understand what's working, what's bringing in purchases. So I'm going to show you really quickly how to set up the TikTok pixel. So the first thing you're going to want to do is when you are inside of your account, you're going to come over here to assets and then click on events. And it's going to give you two options. You have app events or web events. Most people, they're probably going to be setting up web events if you're putting this on your website. If you do have an app, you're going to select this. We're going to be going over web events in this video. From here, you're going to notice that I do have a few different test pixels firing right now, so it may look slightly different, but what you're going to want to do is click set up web events. I encourage you to name this whatever your website is. It's probably the best thing, so I'm just going to call this test.com. And then we want to set up the TikTok pixel, then hit next. Now, when it comes to setting up the TikTok pixel, there are many different website building platforms such as WordPress, Shopify, Wix, Squarespace, and the list goes on and on. Unfortunately, in this tutorial, I can't cover how to install the TikTok pixel for every single one of those platforms, but I will be going over how to set it up on WordPress, which will be very similar for a lot of different website builders. If you want more in-depth tutorials on how to do it for your specific website builder, those companies have specific guidelines and outlines on how to do that. So if you just Google Squarespace TikTok pixel, Squarespace will have a quick setup guide on how to do it. It's very, very simple, but I do want to just make that disclaimer that this will vary slightly depending on what website builder you are using. Today, like I said, we are going to be doing this on WordPress. If you are on Shopify, I do have a full video tutorial on how to set up the TikTok pixel for Shopify. You can check that out in the links down below. But what we're going to do here is click install code manually. Then we're going to hit next. And then we want to use the event builder. This is going to make it a lot easier so we don't have to add a ton of code to our website. If you wanted to go through and you are a developer or something like that, you could choose this custom code. But for us, we're going to choose event builder and make things easy on ourselves. From here, it is going to give us a pixel code to go through and copy. So this is very easy to do. All we need to do is hit copy pixel code, or you could email the code to your developer if you wanted to have them add that to your website. You can see the instructions are very easy. Paste the pixel code in the header section of your website. So if you are using WordPress, my preferred method to do this is I like to use a plugin. I go here to plugins, and then I look for headers and footers, and then I like this WP code to insert mine, but you could use honestly any one of these. This is just the one that I use and I really like. Once you have that installed, you're going to come over here to your settings, or sorry, to code snippets, and then you're going to go to headers and footers right here. Click on that. From this point, you're going to come over here to the header, go down to wherever your last code is, add a couple spaces, and then copy that TikTok pixel code on there just as you see. And then we are going to save changes. Then we're going to come back over here to TikTok. We are going to allow advanced matching. You can see this info is hashed and shared with TikTok to help attribute more conversions to your ad and improve ad retargeting. We're going to leave email and phone number checked there, and then we're going to hit next. So now you can see that the TikTok pixel code is installed, but now we want to go through and verify that it is installed before we go through and create our events. So what you want to do is go to the website where you created where you put that TikTok pixel, and then you want to Google TikTok pixel helper. And this is a Chrome extension, the TikTok Pixel Helper. You're going to want to go through and install this. You can see that I already have it installed. Install this TikTok Pixel Helper. Come over to your website, and then you're going to see right here, if you have it enabled, you click here, you're going to notice that it has a TikTok. For you, you should have one pixel firing. I just added the test.com one that we have right here. I already had one firing on this website, but this is the test one. You can see a page view is firing, so the pixel is working. But there's one more step that we want to do to make sure that we are getting the most value out of this pixel. So say that, for instance, the most valuable thing that I want people to do on my website is to come over here and fill out this contact us form. What we want to do is to let TikTok know when somebody actually goes through and fills out this form. Now, when somebody goes through and fills out this form, they get taken to a page that looks like this. It's a very simple thank you page. It says thank you. We will contact you shortly. You can see the URL here is thank you. So what I'm going to do is take this little dash thank you right here, copy that, and then come back over to this events manager. And then it's asking us to track a specific action. So we're going to use a URL event, hit enter URL. And this is going to be a form submit. So you're going to want to go through and identify whatever it is for your business, but this is a form submit. And then we want the destination URL to contain this right here, which is thank-you. This could be confirmation for you. This could be thanks. This could be thank-you like mine. And then from here, we want to complete setup. And that's going to take us to a page that looks something like this, where you can see our new page view event type and then form submit. You can see that there's no activity right now. This usually takes a little bit of time, a couple of hours to go through and populate. But if you wanted to test to make sure that this form submit is working, what we could do is come over here to our contact form. We're going to call this test, and then we'll just do Corbin at Zoco Marketing 801. And then we'll fill this out. This is and then we have our pixel helper ready. So now we're going to hit submit. And that is going to take us to this thank you page. And then from here, you can click on your TikTok pixel helper. And then this is a pixel that I already had on there, but this is our test. You can see that the page view did fire, but also so did our form submit, which is a good sign, which means we are keeping track of conversions whenever somebody hits this thank you. And I will say a lot of times when I do go through and build these events, the first time I go through and test this, sometimes I don't see this form submit. For whatever reason, sometimes it takes a couple of hours for this event to start showing. So if you go through and do this and are testing on the pixel helper and you don't see the form submit, wait a couple hours, come back and try it again, and you should be able to see that event firing there. And now you can see a day has gone by and you can see the activity. This is a view that you'll be able to see. You'll be able to see how many page views you had and then how many people went through and submitted a form. And then I did a subscribe here as well. But this works for lead forms or for an e-commerce store. You'll have different events such as page view, viewed product, added to cart, submitted payment, all that set up. This is the power of the TikTok pixel, is it allows you to see where people are at in your funnel and when they're actually dropping out. So now we have our account set up and our TikTok pixel set up. It is time to jump into the fun part where we actually go through and create campaigns. In order to do that, we're going to come over here to this campaigns tab. From here, you can see you have the option to go through and create a new campaign or use an existing. This is if you wanted to duplicate existing campaigns, essentially. We're going to create a new one. You'll see that we have here the advertising objectives. And in this first bucket, we have the awareness, and inside of the awareness bucket, we have reach. Now, reach is to get your ads to show to the maximum amount of people possible. You may be thinking, wow, that's awesome. Maybe I want to use the reach, but I would highly recommend you not using the reach objective for most people watching this video. The reach objective is mainly for massive brands that are just wanting to show their ads to the max amount of people. Think brands like Nike, Intel, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, things like that, where they just want more brand awareness. They're not looking necessarily for more traffic, sales, or leads to come from those specific ads. Next, we have the consideration bucket, which has the most objectives. Inside of here, you can optimize to send more traffic to your website. You can optimize to get more video views, or you can optimize for lead generation. Now, for this lead generation specifically, this is for lead forms. These are little forms that will pop up inside of TikTok and have information like email, phone number, things like that, but it won't actually take a user to your website. So if you're wanting to just capture a massive amount of leads and keep people inside of the TikTok app and not send them to your website, then lead gen forms might be an option for you. But if you are wanting to send them to your website and capture the information on your website on a form there, I'm going to recommend the website conversions, which we'll talk about in a second. Then finally, you have the community interactions, which is get more followers to or profile visits to your TikTok. And then finally, we have the conversion bucket. And inside the conversion bucket, you have app installs or app promotion, which is people who are wanting to get more app installs. And then website conversions. Website conversions is what I'm going to recommend for most people. If you are wanting to get more sales, then I recommend website conversions. If you want to get more leads on your website, then I recommend that as well. You may be wondering, well, if I want to get more sales, why don't I use the traffic objective to get more people just sending to my website? And that is true. It will send a lot of people to your website, but that's all it's optimizing towards. If you use the website conversions, TikTok is going to start optimizing to not only get people to your website, but to get people to purchase on your website or to initiate checkout on your website. So it's a much better optimization and better signals and more down funnel targeting that you're essentially using when you're using the website conversion. If you look at this as a funnel view, this is how I like to look at it. You can see at the very top, if you're wanting to reach the most amount of people, you have the reach objective. For consideration, you have the traffic, video views, lead generation, and community interactions. But if you are actually wanting conversions, then the app, the website conversion, and then the app promotion are going to be your best bet. So for this particular course, I'm going to be showing you how to set up the website conversion objective. No matter which objective you choose, the steps after this will be very similar. There'll be slight variations, but the website conversion one is the most complicated, so I do want to show you that one. So we're going to click on the website conversions. So now it's going to ask to give our campaign a name. We're just going to call this test campaign for now. Now this is important. You're going to notice that there's this special ads category. This one doesn't apply to anybody unless you are in any of these three industries. So if you're in the housing industry, employment industry, or credit industry, you do need to select that you are in one of these categories. What this will do is it unfortunately will limit the targeting that you do have on the back end. If you aren't in one of those categories, then don't worry about the special ads category selection, but this is just to protect individual consumers. So that is why TikTok has those in place. Next, you can see here we have the create split test options. Now, for most people, I'm going to recommend to leave this off for the time being. The reason is that TikTok automatically goes through and optimizes towards ad groups or ads that are performing the best. And I'm going to be showing you later the structure that I use to go through and test things in a much simpler format. So for now, we're going to leave this create split test off. Next, we have this option called campaign budget optimization. Now, let me explain what this means essentially. With campaign budget optimization, your budget is set at the campaign level, and you are basically telling TikTok, go through and allocate my budget however you see best inside of my ad group. So for instance, if you have 4 ad groups, what could end up happening is that one ad group could start being favored by TikTok and take up 80% of the budget, while ad group 2, 3, and 4 get less of the budget. Now, this is an extreme example, but this is something that can happen with campaign optimization. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you have less control on which ad groups get the budget. So for personally, when I'm beginning, what I like to do is when I'm creating new ad groups and testing, is I like to keep this off and keep it on ad group budget optimization, where essentially when I have 4 different ad groups, I am allocating the budget evenly between all of those, analyzing the results, and then allocating that budget as I see fit. So just keep that in mind when you are going through and running your campaigns. This is an easier way to go through and manage your ad groups and budgets. But for me personally, I do like to have that control when I am managing these ad groups from the very beginning. And then finally, we can go through and set our campaign budget. Here you can see the daily budget does need to be at least $50 US. So for this example, we're just going to put this at $100 and then hit continue. So we've now covered the campaign settings. It's time to move on to the ad group. And as you can see inside of here, there are lots of different sections inside of the ad group. We're going to be going through all of these different sections. The first thing we have here is the ad group name. Now the ad group name is something that is very important and sometimes overlooked. The ad group name allows you to quickly see which campaigns and ad groups are actually working and knowing what is running inside of those ad groups. So honestly, what I like to do is come back to this ad group name after I've gone through and defined my different targeting and make a very descriptive ad group name that applies to that targeting. So I'll come back and kind of give you an example of what I mean by that. And on this right hand side, you'll notice that we have a little meter that shows us our available audience and the audience size based on the targeting that we have. This will change as we go through and add targeting options, but I do want to point it out because oftentimes I do get asked what is the ideal audience size when it comes to TikTok ads. And the answer is it very much depends on your niche, and there's not one size fits all basically. But I will say that I generally like to keep this audience size between 100,000 to 5 million, which I know is a massive range. It just depends on your niche, where, for example, say that you are a software that is targeting car dealership. There's not hundreds of millions of car dealerships out there in the world. So your audience size is probably going to be lower on that lower end, say, hundreds of thousands as opposed to millions. When you compare that to something maybe like a direct to consumer brand, like say you were selling tennis shoes, now that is an audience size that could have over millions of people inside of it. So you'll have to kind of use your judgment a little bit on what a good ideal audience size is for you. But like I said, I generally don't like to go any lower than 100,000. Like I said, general rule of thumb is between 100,000 to 5 million. And now you can see we have this option for external website or TikTok instant pages. External website means that you are just going to link to somewhere on your website or a landing page. A TikTok instant page is a page that opens up inside of TikTok and allows the user to convert through that page. Now, I would recommend most people starting off with an external website. The times where I recommend TikTok instant pages is if you have a landing page that isn't converting as well, or your conversion rate is low, or you have a website that loads very slowly. So if any of those apply to you, you might want to consider using TikTok instant pages. For now, we're going to stick with the external website for this example. And next, we're going to go through and select our pixel. Previously in the course, we went through and talked about how to set up this pixel. You can see when I click this down, I do have 2 TikTok pixels inside of this account. The one that we set up in this video, this is the test one. And you can see when I click this, it asks for the optimization events, which we went through and set up. And here you can see we have that form submit, which is active. Now, for people who are working with an e-commerce store or Shopify, your pixel, this is a Shopify pixel. You can see your optimization events are going to be more e-commerce focused. You can see you have view to cart, add to cart, complete payment, add payment info, initiated checkout. So these are the different events that you can go through and optimize towards. Now, when it comes to choosing your optimization events, a lot of times people will automatically want to choose the bottom funnel action, in this scenario, complete payment, because they want to optimize for getting more sales, essentially. But let me tell you why you might want to consider choosing another optimization event. And it all comes down to what TikTok has said about how TikTok can best optimize for these events. If you come here to this article, I'll leave a link to this down below. TikTok has come out and said that in order to drive the best results, that you should have at least 50 conversions per week in order for the TikTok pixel to optimize for that result. So if you come back here to our optimization events and you're selecting the complete to payment, what TikTok is basically saying is that in order to optimize for the complete payment event the best, it needs to have at least 50 purchases per week. Now, for a lot of stores, 50 purchases in a week can be kind of a difficult task. And that's why a lot of times when you are first starting off with your TikTok pixel, say that it has no purchase data at all, I recommend starting with an event that is higher up in the funnel. Say, for instance, add to cart, or maybe initiated checkout, or viewed content, viewed a product page, something along those lines, where you can start optimizing for 50 of those events per week. Now, this doesn't mean that you're not going to drive sales or different things like that. You're basically just giving TikTok a little bit of an easier target to start off with. Once it gets confident with that target, then you can start optimizing to these events down the funnel. But a lot of times people will start optimizing for complete payment without any data. And so TikTok doesn't really have a clear defined target on what actually works because there's zero purchase data inside of the account. So keep that in mind when you are optimizing for these events. So for this example, we are going to optimize for add to cart. Next, you can see we have the placements here and the option to have automatic placements or select payments. For most advertisers, I would probably recommend opting out of Pangle here. I haven't seen great results across it, and I only want my ads to show up on TikTok. If you choose automatic placements, TikTok will start running it, and based on the data will show on inside of TikTok and or Pangle or both. But for me, I just don't want to deal with showing up on this network at this time, and I only want to be showing up on TikTok. And then underneath here, you can see we have these advanced settings. These are all automatically checked on, and I do recommend keeping these all on. Basically, you could go through and opt out of having user comments on your ad, but this just only makes your ad look more like an ad if there's no comments coming through. Comments, I know, can be hard sometimes to manage, but it is a better user experience. And then same with the video downloading and video sharing. If somebody really does like your ad and wants to share it with a friend, you definitely want to give them that opportunity to be able to do that. So I do recommend keeping all of these checked. Next, we have this creative type, automated creative optimization. I generally leave this unchecked. And the reason I do that is because when I'm going through and testing and scaling my campaigns, I have a very specific way that I scale those and lay them out. And I find that that drives better results than this automated creative optimization, especially if your account is very new. It doesn't have very much data to go off of. Basically what this is you give TikTok a combination of video and text, and it will go through and test those in different placements and things like that. Like I said, I generally leave this unchecked. Next, we have the targeting, and you have two options here as well. There's a manual option and an automated option, basically with a lot of the things inside of TikTok. If you are just beginning, I do recommend the custom targeting. As your account starts to grow, I would recommend building an ad group that does test out this automated targeting. But the reason I don't recommend it with a lot of these other automated things is you can see here that it optimizes based on past campaign data. And if you don't have any data inside of your account, it's not going to really work. But later on, when I'm scaling the campaign, I'm going to show you when I start using this automated targeting. But for now, we're going to keep this on the custom targeting. And now we go into demographic targeting where we have location, languages, gender, age, and household income. For location, these are the locations that you can currently target to. This will probably be changing as time goes on. TikTok is still relatively new when it comes to TikTok ads, and so not every location is currently available, so keep that in mind. But here are the locations that you can currently target, and you can click these down to get even more granular, or you can search for a specific target as well. But for now, we're just going to keep this in the United States. Next, we have language. The default is for this to be in all. I'm going to change this to English because that is what my ad is in. It's in English. And so be sure you change this to whatever your ad language is. And you can target by gender and age. And then you have here the household income. And you can see the default is an all. And most of the time, I do recommend keeping this on all. You can see you can go through and target by top 10 income earners in your target location. However, a lot of times TikTok gets this data a little bit wrong, and you're actually excluding more people that would be qualified for your product than you would include. And so most of the time I leave these all unchecked, even if it is a luxury product. That's something that you can test for your specific product or service, but I found better results leaving this on all. And now we have the audiences, and you can see you can either include or exclude audiences. When you click inside of here, you see you can either do a custom audience or a lookalike. You can see that this is empty because this is a test account, but I do want to quickly go over what a custom audience is, what a lookalike audience is, and how to create those. So in order to create a custom audience or a lookalike audience, you're going to come over here to assets. So from here, you're going to see a little tab that says create audiences. Now, I do generally recommend creating these custom and lookalike audiences before you start creating your campaigns, so that you have them ready for when you create your campaigns to actually just plug them in there. But we're going to click on here first and go over the custom audiences. For those who aren't familiar with a custom audience is, basically you are providing data to TikTok in order to create a unique audience that only you can run and other advertisers can't. And you can give TikTok that data basically 6 different ways. You can either do it through a customer file, engagement, website traffic, app activity, lead gen forms, or through your business account. And these can be very powerful because basically what you're doing is providing TikTok with more data on who is actually engaging with your website, actually buying your product, or engaging with your content. And so I highly recommend taking advantage of these custom audiences when possible. The first option that you have is to upload a customer file. This is things like emails, phone number addresses that you can just upload into a CSV file or a TXT file into TikTok. It will then create an audience based off of those users. You can then use that audience to say, hey, TikTok, here are my current customers. Make me a lookalike audience on that, which I'm going to be going over here in a little bit in this course on how to create a lookalike audience based on your current prospects. But that's what the customer file is. The next is the engagement. This is where you can create a list of people who saw, clicked, or engaged with your content, specifically with your ads. You can see here, you can go through and target all of your ad groups, and then you can select a specific action. Say you wanted to target anybody who viewed a video by 100% or got an impression on the ad or viewed it by 75%, because that means that they're engaging with those different things. You can go through and do that. You can set a specific action. So say that we were targeting all ad groups for our video ads for people who watched the video 75% or more over the past 7 days. And then you can see you can also go through and exclude specific content if you wanted to do that here. We're just going to go back. You can create a custom audience based on app activity. And next we have the website traffic. This is one that I recommend everybody go through and set up a couple of different audiences. If you followed the steps on this course already, you should have your TikTok pixel set up either for e-commerce or leads. And so if we click inside of here, what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to create audiences based on specific events inside of your TikTok pixel. You can see we have here the page view, complete registration, add to cart, or place order or payment, whatever events you set up. So what I recommend doing is going through and creating a custom audience for at least the last 30 days for all of these different events. So for page view, anybody who viewed my website over the last 30 days, I want to create an audience, and then make sure you click your correct pixel here. And then we're going to call this audience name page view. And then you want to keep this checked to refresh your audience automatically to view the latest user data. And then I usually check this as well to allow your audience to be used for reach and frequency campaigns. Just because I don't use reach and frequency campaigns very often, but just in case I ever do, I leave that checked. Once you're done with that, you can hit confirm, and that's going to create your custom audience. And then I recommend coming back over here and doing custom audience again, clicking that, going through, and then now let's say that we wanted to do one for anybody who completed a payment over the last 30 days. Make sure we grab our pixel here, and then we want this to be complete. Name that complete payment 30 days, and then confirm. So I would recommend going through and creating these custom audiences for every event that applies to your business. Do the same thing for leads as well. And I'm going to show you how to utilize these here in just a minute. So now we're going to come back over to custom. And next here we have create a custom audience based off of lead generation. You can see this is create a list of people who viewed or submitted an instant form in the lead generation ad. So this is only if you're running lead generation ads and are using the TikTok form. If you are capturing leads on your website, then you're going to want to utilize the web traffic custom event as opposed to the lead generation one. And then finally, you have your business account. You can create a list of people who follow or interact with your business profile. And in order to use this one, you're going to need to make sure that your TikTok account is linked. And if you've been following along in the course, it should already be linked. But if not, if you click here, it will give you the option to go through and link your account. And then you can start using that data to create a custom audience. Now let's pretend that we went through and created all those different custom audiences that we'd like. You'll notice a couple of different things. One here, it shows the size of the audience. And right now the availability is unavailable and it's processing the data. So in order to start using these custom audiences, either for targeting or as a lookalike audience, typically you're gonna have to wait 24 to 48 hours before these are done and available. And after they are done and available, they'll give you an idea of the size. Now, do keep in mind that this size is pretty important, because if you do not have at least 1,000 people in this custom audience, you can see that you won't be able to use that custom audience. So keep that in mind. You will need a minimum of 1,000 people inside of that custom audience in order for it to run and to create a lookalike audience off of it. But let's pretend for a minute that these are available and that the size is over 1,000. In that case, you can then create a lookalike audience based off of this. And this is where these custom audiences become very powerful, because as you can imagine, I'm not going to run an ad to people who have already purchased my product, unless it was for some sort of upsell. Then it might make sense. But most of the time, where this kind of audience is really powerful is if we created a lookalike audience based off of people who have already purchased. So we're telling TikTok, hey, TikTok, here are 1,000 people that purchased my item. Go find me more people that have very similar behavior to these people. And there's two different ways to create a lookalike audience based off of a custom audience. One, you can scroll under here and you can see it says create a lookalike audience. Right now it's grayed out because the data is still processing. So you can click that and it will take you to create a lookalike audience, or you can click here and click lookalike audience, and then it will pop up this little source. Now, any of these sources that are available and qualify, once you click this down, you'll see a list of those here. Right now we don't have that because it's still just a test account. And then here you have the contain source. This can be a little bit confusing, but basically what it's saying is omit or contain. If you don't want your ads to show to people who are in the custom audience, you're going to want to leave this omitted. If you want to show ads to people that are in the lookalike audience, then you're going to want to do contains. Most of the time you're going to want to do omit, because you don't want to show to people who are purchasing your product in this situation. So we're going to leave that on omit. System, I like to leave this on all. Placements, I like to have this on TikTok. Location, you're going to want to choose whatever your target location is. In this situation, we're going to do the United States. And when you're first creating this audience, I like the audience size to be balanced. And then as I'm looking to scale, I move this towards a broad. Finally, you give this audience a name. I typically like to do lookalike purchase 30 days. So I know which audience it's based off of, and it's a lookalike audience. And then finally, I opt into this as well, and then hit confirm. And it's not gonna let me do it because I haven't selected the custom audience, but you get an idea on what that process looks like. And once those are created and populated, when you click inside of here, you'll see a list of those audiences, either in the custom or lookalike. Like I said, they're still populating, so they're not showing up now. And then here we have the exclude, and where this is really powerful is I typically like to go through and exclude anybody who's already purchased from my website, or exclude people who have already filled out my lead form so they're not seeing my ads anymore, because there's nothing more annoying than seeing an ad for something that you've already bought or for a service that you've already filled out a lead form for. So most of the time I'll go through and grab that custom audience of people who have purchased over the last 30 days, or sometimes I'll even create one that is even bigger, like over the last 365 days, and put that as an exclusion as well. And here we have the interests and behaviors, and inside of the interests and behaviors, you have 4 different subcategories. You have interests, you have video interactions, creator interactions, and then hashtag interactions. These are all different ways that you can target people. You can see that TikTok is already recommending a few interests based on my website, but I want to quickly run through all 4 of these examples as if we were trying to target people who want to buy a floor lamp. So let's start off with this add interest. Inside of here, you can target people based on general interest or purchase intention. General interest is just people who are interested in lamps, or here you can target people who have indicated that they are likely to purchase your item, so say lamps. Now, I found with this purchase intention, it doesn't always work as intended, and a lot of times it actually excludes people that would normally be in this general audience that would purchase my item. So I generally like to stick with the general interest instead of this purchase intention, but that's something that you can test for yourself. Here you can go through and you'll notice that there's all different categories that you can target, and inside of here there are subcategories. Say for instance that because we're targeting lamps here, if we click down the home improvement, we could target anybody who's interested in home improvement, which would be a very large audience for us. Or we could go down here and actually target people who are interested in just home decor. You can see this audience size, it gives you an idea of the audience size, is around 4 million or 40 to 49 million. Just here to the right side, it disappears when I go there, but on the bottom. So a fairly large audience, and you could go through and target that if you'd like. In this case, sometimes what I like to do is to just type in my product to see if they have targeting specifically for it. So we're going to type in lamps here and see if anything pops up. You can see there are additional interests, people who are interested in lamps. That's a great one for us. Do they have floor lamps? They have table lamps here, which is good, and floor lamps. So I'm going to do table lamps, and we're going to do floor lamps. And you can see this is now adjusting our audience on the right-hand side, and it's telling us that now our audience size is between 2.7 million to 3.3 million, which is a great spot for us to be. You'll notice though that TikTok is telling us that this audience is too small, and this is just a suggestion from TikTok. And you'll see that TikTok is giving us this error that our audience size is too narrow. This just isn't the case. There's 2.7 to 3.3 million people that we can target, and that's a plenty big enough audience for us to go through and do. I have tons of campaigns that are profitable and running with an audience size that is quote unquote too narrow based on TikTok, but it's just not the case, like I said. So keep that in mind. So that is how you could go through and find interest targeting. Now we have the video interactions. So we could target people who have interacted with a video in a specific category. There are less categories than the interest behavior, so keep that in mind, but here are all the different kind of options you have. And you can target them based on whether they've watched till the end, liked, commented, or shared on a specific video category, or all 3 of those. And then you can go through and select either 7 days or 15 days. I generally recommend 15 days because it gives you a bigger audience to go through and target. And next we have the creator interactions. Now this doesn't mean that you can target people who follow or view profiles of a specific creator, but you can target people who have followed or viewed profiles of creators in a specific niche. You can see here's kind of the categories that you could go through and do that for. Next we have the behavior hashtags. This allows you to target specific hashtags. So say that we were looking for lamps, we could find all the different hashtags that are related to lamps. There's not a ton, so we'd probably want to look for home decor, something more broad, and target people who have interacted with those specific hashtags. Now, I will say that I don't really love targeting by specific hashtags a lot of times, because sometimes videos that do really well don't include that hashtag. So you might be narrowing your audience a little bit too much with this option. And next, you can go through and target by device. You can do either by Android, iOS. You can do by iOS versions as well, which is awesome. By device model, you can see there's lots of different options inside of here. Connection type, carriers that people have, and then also you buy their device price or a specific range in between, all the way from $1,000 to $0 for those. And last, we have the target expansion. And you can see what this will do is deliver your ads to the audiences that you selected first, and then deliver to users with similar characteristics to improve delivery performance. This is something that I have tested and I've found it works actually really well. And I do check this on and then do for the interest and behaviors. That will increase, and that will generally increase your audience size as well. But I generally do recommend going through and giving this a test for your specific account as well. Okay, so now we have our audience all defined. So what I like to do is come back over here to the ad group and then name everything kind of in here to describe this. So we are targeting the US. And this is going to be all ages, all male and female, but we're targeting interest lamps. And this is using the expanded targeting, the targeting expansion. So I just like to give as much detail in here as possible so that when you are looking inside these campaigns, you kind of know what it's targeting. This is really awesome if you have a lot of different ad groups to know what kind of audiences are working well. So now we have that. Let's actually move down to our daily budget. Now, if you recall, we set a campaign budget as well of $100. What that basically means is that if we build more ad groups inside of this campaign, it won't ever spend more than $100. So inside of this ad group, we technically can't spend any more than $100 a day unless we change our campaign budget. Now, at the ad group level, you can spend as little as $20 a day. You can see if I try to go 19, TikTok is going to give me an error and say it needs to be at least 20. So if you're wondering what a good starting budget is, honestly, a lot of times I recommend that people start at $20 a day and then scale from that point. If you have a more expensive product, it may be worth doubling this budget, but for majority of people, if you're just getting started, start with $20 a day, see if it works, test out some different things, and then optimize and scale from that point. And I'll be showing you exactly how I scale campaigns later on in this video, so be sure to stick around for that. Coming down here, you're going to notice that there are a couple of different settings. You have the run ad group continuously after the start date, so it'll just run every day until you go through and pause this, or you do have the option to run it within a specific date range. This is great if you're running some sort of sale, some sort of spring sale, Christmas sale, Black Friday, different things like that, and you just wanted it to run for a certain amount of time and make sure that it turns off so you don't forget about it. You could definitely run that, but in majority of the time, I like to run my ads continuously and then just pause them when I need to. You also have the option to run your ads all day or to schedule a specific time. Now, for most people, I do recommend just running the ads all day because TikTok is really good at optimizing when people should see the ads and when they're likely to convert. But if you have a business that is maybe only open between 9 and 5 and only somebody can fill those leads or those calls between that 9 to 5 hours, it may be worth going through and doing a day parting strategy where you're basically telling TikTok, hey, I only want to show up between 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. basically, and you can go through and define that by the day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday through Monday through Sunday basically, and do that. But for, like I said, most of the time you're going to want to do all day here. And then we have this section right here, which is the bidding and optimization. You can see that the optimization goal is already chosen as the conversion. This is because we set this all the way back at the campaign level. And for most people, I'm going to recommend you go with the conversion for the reasons that we talked about before, because optimizing for a click is okay, but at the end of the day, you need to either get sales or leads coming from these TikTok ads to make it worth it. And down below here, you have the bid strategy. You'll notice that the default it has is the lowest cost, and that is what I recommend for most people as well. This is basically you're basically just telling TikTok, go and find me the lowest cost result, in this case, the lowest cost purchase or the lowest cost lead possible for my ad spend. Now you can see here that you have this cost cap. Now this is for accounts that maybe have a little bit more data or a little bit more experience. And what I mean by that is you don't want to go through and set a cost cap and tell TikTok that, hey, I want to only get a lead at $50, because what you're basically doing is you're setting a cap on TikTok. And what you may find is that TikTok can't get you a lead at $50 right from the beginning because it doesn't have enough data, and your ads will stop kind of showing, or they won't get the impressions that they need. So this is the cost cap is great if you have, say, an account that has hundreds or thousands of purchases within a month, and you know that the average for those leads or sales is, say, $50 throughout that 30-day period, then it makes sense to go through and give a cost cap because you have historical data kind of to support what that cost cap should be. But unless you have something like that, I generally recommend most people going over to this lowest cost right here. And you can see there are some advanced options down here where it shows you the billing event. So you can see your build on impressions for this specific one, and then the delivery type is standard. You can see your budget and ads are distributed evenly based on the business traffic during the selected advertising periods. Now, if you wanted to run an accelerated, that option is only in the cost cap. You can see when you click this down underneath these advanced options, you can do either standard or accelerated. Once again, this isn't something that I would necessarily recommend for an accelerated budget. This is basically front loading it so that you spend as much as possible. And for most people, you're not going to want to do that. You're going to want to stick on standard, and that's why you stick on cost cap or you stick on lowest cost on the standard delivery. So now we can go through and hit next and actually move on to our ads and building out ads. Okay, so here we are in the ad section, and this is arguably the most important part of any kind of TikTok ads. If you optimize everything right at the campaign level or at the ad group level, but you have a crappy ad, things are not going to convert the way that you would like it to. So I want to go through the settings here and best practices for ads inside of TikTok. Now, the first thing that you have here is the actual name. You can go through and give your ad a specific name. Right here is where you can go through and run something called TikTok Spark Ads. If you click this on, you'll notice what this allows you to do is actually connect to your TikTok account and run any of your organic posts as a TikTok ad, which is a really great feature because it makes it look very native to the platform. And if a video popped off organically, it probably might be a good idea to run some ad spend behind it. So you can go through and use this Spark Ads feature once you've gone that through and connect that account. So you can go through and use that Spark Ads feature. If you want to learn more about Spark Ads, you can click the link down below. I have a full video dedicated just to Spark Ads. But for now, we're going to unclick this and just kind of walk through the normal ad settings. So here is where you can go through and set a custom identity. Now, if you aren't using Spark Ads, I definitely recommend going through and setting a custom identity. And what this looks like is you want to go through and make it look like it's an actual profile. So I'm going to go through and actually grab a picture of myself here, and we can add that there. There we go. Yes, looks good. Now you can use either a user avatar or your business logo here. I do find that having an actual person's face here is really beneficial because it does make it look even more organic. For the display name, you can put this as your business name, or you could even put it as a user avatar like John to make it look like it is coming from an actual real person and make it look less like an ad. So those are kind of your options, or you could go through and put your business there as well. So next we have the actual ad creative. You have three options here. You can either upload something that you've already made. You can grab something from your library if you've used it in the past on one of your ads, or you can create a video directly here inside of TikTok. Most of the people are probably going to be uploading them from here. Now, before you go through and upload these, I do want to quickly talk about the best practices when it comes to TikTok ads. So when it comes to TikTok ads, let's briefly talk about what doesn't work. So what doesn't work when it comes to TikTok ads is copying and pasting your Facebook ads. Your text images or just straight images that you've used on Facebook that converted and moving them over to TikTok, it just isn't going to work. People see right through that nowadays, and you're not going to get conversions. Other things is not using a vertical format. You can see this person right here, this ad right here, they used a vertical format and then they tried to use these like bars to kind of mix this up, and it just doesn't look great. The next is something that looks overproduced like a commercial. You can see this looks very much like a commercial. When people see this inside of TikTok, they're going to scroll right through. And then we talked about this using only images. Now, when it comes to TikTok ads, there are three different parts. You have the hook, the information about your product. It either needs to be delivered in an entertaining way, an educational way, or an inspirational way. And then finally, at the end, you have your call to action. If you're wondering like just a simple framework or different ways that you can build ads, here's just a few examples. So a good hook is like, here is a simple hack to help you do X. You can see here the hook on this video is a simple way to organize tank tops. This is something that you could use very easily. Another quick example is, do you have a problem with X? Here is a solution. You can see, do you have a problem with curly hair? Use surf spray, and you see you don't have a problem with curly hair anymore. And a few more examples on here is, don't buy this instead. This is great for e-commerce. Don't buy this microphone, buy this microphone instead, kind of thing. These are kind of almost TikTok trends in a way that can help you to really create ads that look like native videos and get people to actually go through and convert. Just to walk through a couple more of examples, things that TikTok made me buy, using something like this could be very well. Like, here's things that TikTok made me buy, and then go through and show off your product or service. And then 5 reasons why you need this, 5 reasons why you need to get this smart wallet right here, basically. And one other one that is kind of hard to pull off but can work really well is foreshadowing something that is going to happen and build curiosity. You can see this hook right here. I tried it and it worked. It has some sort of receipt right here, and then a steering wheel for a Tesla. So you're wondering, okay, what did he try and what worked? This is something that can work really well for TikTok ads as well. And real quick, if you are looking for more hooks, here is just a list. You can pause the video right here and just take a note of all of these different hooks for your TikTok ads. Now, a couple of other ways to find inspiration for TikTok ads, especially in your niche, is to use TikTok's Creative Center. They have a dashboard that shows you the top ads. I'll show you how to use that in just a second. Or literally just go on to TikTok and search for hashtags related to your niche or keywords related to your niche and see what's showing up, and that will give you some inspiration for ads as well. But as far as using the TikTok Creative Center, if we come over here, you can see that this is the TikTok Creative Center, and inside of here, you can see that it has this top ads dashboard. What I like to do is type in my product or service. You can see you can go through by industry. let's say that we were in the apparel and accessories and we wanted to do, let's see, bags. And we go through and click this, it lets you sort through all those different things. What you want to do is go onto the objective and you want to find people who are optimizing towards conversions because you want sales or leads at the end of the day. And then from here, it will show you example ads of things that are actually converting, which is very, very useful. And not only on top of that, you can click this and look at the analytics and view to see what the click-through rate was, what the conversion rate was, and what the people remaining all the way through was. So there's a ton of data that you can utilize inside of here to find top ads and inspiration for your creative. So now that we kind of have an idea of what creative works, let's head back over to TikTok and finish this out. So I'm going to go through and upload my ad here now. Now this isn't the best example. This is just one that I just filmed real quick of this lamp, and now it's ready to upload. And then go through and upload this. Give this a second to go through and upload. And you can see this is just going to load up, and this is just a very simple video. You can see it's not highly produced. It's literally me just on my phone going through and showing off this lamp right here and the different settings for this floor lamp. So very, very simple. It looks like it's coming from a normal user. I'm gonna go through and pause that. Now, one thing that I want to call out that has been really useful for me as I'm testing ads is this right here. I think a lot of people overlook this, but this generate creative is a very useful tool. What this will do is if you click this right here, it will go through and TikTok will automatically splice up your video into different variants. And let me show you what I mean now. You can see just from this one video that I uploaded that was like 13 seconds, TikTok will actually go through and add some sort of automatic hook here. So you see that, like, the thing is, these things actually convert really well. It just added this 3-second video of this guy walking through and saying, wow. So if I open this up here, and it will also add music on top of it. So it's kind of lagging there, but you get the idea. The great thing about this is you can upload one creative and then hit this little auto generate refresh thing. And then all of a sudden that one video will produce 6 different results. Now this one is like more different transitions and things like that, make it a TikTok. And you obviously don't have to utilize these, but I would, in this situation, would consider maybe testing one of these inside of this ad group. You can see this one added some sort of filter, which I don't necessarily love, but you can go through and kind of look at these and preview them. You can even generate more down here. You can see out of 19 results from this one video that I uploaded, but that's how that works. So I do want to call that out as a really good option to go through and get even more creative. Then finally, you can go through and add the text. You can see you only have 100 characters here, so you can keep this really light. And there's a couple different ways you can approach this. You can make it look like very user generated, like coolest lamp I've ever gotten, coolest lamp ever, really simple. Or you could even do something like that's more of a sale, like 48 hours only, 48-hour sale on all LED lamps. Something along those lines. You can see you only have 100 characters to work with, so keep that in mind. Down below, you have these interactive add-ons. Now, these can be useful, but to be honest, I have not found a great use case for these because a lot of times these can kind of distract from the main CTA. You can see you can add an engagement poll or these different click-through rates, like things that people can go through and answer, or even a countdown. But I find that when I go through and test these, they actually distract from the main call to action and kind of get in the way in a little bit, but I do want to show them to you as an option to add to your ads. And then finally, we have the final URL. We're just going to send them here. And then you can see here, you can go through and customize your call to action by hitting edit. Or if you wanted to set just a standard one or leave it dynamic so that TikTok goes through and tests different ones, you could do that. So you can see here's all the different call to actions that you can go through and do. For this one, I'm going to leave this on shop now. And the final step is the final step is to go through and submit your ad. And congratulations, you have now created your first TikTok ads campaign. But to be honest, that is just the very beginning because now it's time to go through and actually optimize and scale your campaign. So I briefly want to touch on how I go about scaling campaigns and setting them up from the beginning. This was more just teaching you a lot of the technical stuff, but now I actually want to get into some of the strategy of running your TikTok ads. Okay, so I want to briefly go over how I start building out my TikTok ads campaigns, what the structure looks like, and how I go about scaling these campaigns inside of TikTok. And I have this broken out into 3 phases, and these phases kind of build on top of each other, but I want to kind of give you an overview of how I do this. So the first thing that I start with is a campaign, and inside of this campaign, I do the custom targeting. Now, the custom targeting is what we just went over in this video, where you click on this option and you go through and you add, your things like floor lamp or desk lamp, things like that. It's the audience that you actually create. And inside of that audience, or inside of that ad group, I create 3 ads, and I create 3 separate ads that have different call to actions, different scenes, things like that. 3 very different ads. I give that a budget of $25 a day. Let that run for 3 to 7 days. The main thing that I'm testing in this phase 1 is to see if I can get a creative that works, a creative that is actually getting purchases, and a creative that is performing better than any of the other ones that I have inside of here. So I'll run this for 3 to 7 days. If I have an ad breakout that I call a quote unquote winning ad, and that just means it's getting a good ROAS for your business or getting a good cost per lead for your business, then I will go through and duplicate this campaign and move on to phase 2. But if I don't find a winning ad, I will continue testing different ads in this custom targeting ad group until I find a winning one. But once I find the winning ad, then I come over to phase 2. And inside of phase 2, what I do is I duplicate the ad group. So I duplicate this custom targeting ad group. And in order to do that, all you need to do is come over in the TikTok interface, and you can see inside of here, when you have the ad group selected, you can click on this little copy button. It will copy this custom targeting. It will copy all of the settings, the targeting, and also the 3 ads inside of here. But you don't want to keep all 3 ads inside of here. You only want to keep the winning one. So you go through and delete the losing ad in that duplicate ad group. And then you have this right here, which is the custom targeting with the winning ad inside of it. You want to have this be the same budget, $25 a day. And then what we're going to do is now we're going to test the audience. We want to see if an automatic targeting is better than our custom targeting that we created inside of TikTok. And the automatic targeting, in order to set that up in the ad group, you have this automatic targeting option. Just go through and build a campaign that has the automatic targeting, and then put your winning ad in that ad group as well. For here, this is going to be a $25 budget a day as well, which is going to give us a total of $50 a day for this budget. Now, I find with the audiences, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to figure out which one performs better. So I usually like to let this run for 2 weeks, sometimes as much as a month. After that period of time, hopefully by then you've discovered whether the custom audience or the automatic targeting is better for you. From there, what you can do is duplicate whatever audience is winning, whatever ad group is winning out of these 2, and you can increase your budget. And this time you're actually going to want to create 2 new ads that are similar to the winning ad. Look at that ad and say, okay, why is this working well? What things can we do? Can we add hooks that are similar to this? Can we have very similar things, similar call to actions? Go through and add, and this says winning ad here, but add another test ad inside of here. So test ad 2. Along with your winning ad. At this point, now you can scale your budget up to $100 a day plus, depending on where you kind of are at. And these campaigns can run can run for a long time. Now, once you've gotten to phase 3, that doesn't mean that you are done. There's actually still more to be testing and optimizing as time goes on. But this is like a good little framework for you to go through and use when you are building out your TikTok ads. Of course, if you have an even bigger budget, you're going to want to utilize this formula, but you're going to probably be doing it with multiple campaigns or multiple ads or different ad groups as well. But for a general rule of thumb, this is a good little blueprint to follow. Congratulations, you now have everything you need to succeed running TikTok ads. Don't forget to like this video if you made it this far, and also subscribe on your way out. I really do appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.